All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are now going to talk about Christian McCaffrey. I'll talk about injury update regarding him. So, actually, speaking of injury update, Micah Parsons, the ankle injury, got X-rays. They were negative, but yeah, he's going to get an MRI like DeMarcus Lawrence. And then Malik Neighbors, I saw a post on social media that he's all good after suffering that concussion. So I think that's where the confusion came with me is because I knew Neighbors had one, but I don't know why I thought Parsons had one, but yeah. Um, so yeah, Parsons X-rays negative on the ankle. Malik Neighbors seems like he's all good, and the Giants they don't play till next Sunday, so at least this gives them a little bit of extra time for Neighbors to get right, and then hopefully he plays when they take on Seattle. So, anyways, let's talk about Christian McCaffrey. So a lot of mixed reports yesterday because there was one that said he could miss up to a couple of months. And then, Kyle Shanahan's talking about them getting a better idea over the next couple of weeks. Because McCaffrey ended up going to a specialist in Germany about the Achilles tendonitis that he's dealing with and the calf injury. And yeah, there were some reports that he was going to miss up to a couple of months, which is not good news for the Niners because he just plays such an important role with this team. And, Jordan Mason has done a nice job filling in for him. And I do think, like, if you get George Kittle back this week, you get Deebo Samuel back next week, the offense should be fine until McCaffrey comes back. My problem is the defense. The defense has not played well these last couple of weeks. And they got to get that situated because if their defense is just going to give up a bunch of points, then that's a whole separate issue. And, I'm not worried about the 49ers. Like I keep saying that. But there are concerns. So, yeah, again, there's another report. Christian McCaffrey to test readiness sooner than later. So, I guess that means maybe he's not going to miss a couple months because, again, you go back to yesterday, there was a report that McCaffrey was probably closer to a couple months away from coming back. And I actually forgot I wanted to throw up a graphic here or an image. But yeah, I was. It's very interesting how there's just mixed reports. But yeah, he's going to test readiness sooner rather than later. 49ers are turning up for Christian McCaffrey in the next couple of weeks. So, again, we'll see what happens. But, again, he just plays an important role with this team. And, you don't want to see him out. He's one of the best players in the NFL, and you want to see him, out there playing. Because when this 49ers offense is 100%, I mean, it's arguably the best offense in football. And it's just a huge loss. And right now the 49ers are 1-2. They're taking on a Patriots team that I think they should beat so they can even their record up. And like I said, hopefully they're getting George Kittle back. It looks like they are going to get him back this week, maybe. Because he has been limited in practice these last 2 days, so maybe that means he's going to play. I mean, I'm hoping he does for also fantasy purposes as well. Deebo Samuel hopefully comes back the following week with his calf injury. But, yeah, injuries have just been... I said it before the season, but you could that can go out the window with what I said. Just hoping that there wasn't going to be as many injuries as last year. Well, look at how many stars have gotten hurt. Last night's game, you had, a trio of Cowboy defensive players, and then, of course, you have Malik Neighbors who gets a concussion at the end of the game. So, yeah, injuries are just going to continue to plague this NFL season, which doesn't surprise me, but you wish that wasn't the case. But it's just kind of odd how this Christian McCaffrey situation has kind of unfolded. Because I remember him saying that he felt like he was going to play in week 1. And then he's just been kept out. Now he goes to see a specialist in Germany. Now we're hearing he's going to be out a couple months. Then we'll get a better idea in a couple weeks. So it's just there's so many mixed signals with what's going on with McCaffrey that you don't really know. But either way, he's going to be out for a while. We're just going to put it like that. And can the 49ers survive without McCaffrey? I think they can, but like I said, they got to get the defense situated. Because they have, like I said, they've struggled. Last week against the Rams, that was a team that is even more beat up than your team. And you were up by 10 points, and you let them come back. Now, you got Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford on the other side. So it's not like, I don't look, I'm down on the Rams with the injuries. After that win, I'm a little encouraged. Like, okay, maybe they could tread water for a little bit until they get, their guys back, their offensive line healthy, their top receivers back. But I was down on the Rams. And I have great respect for Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, but I just felt like a lot of these injuries, it's going to be tough to overcome. And on top of that, they got a young defense. But to give them credit, they came back against the Niners. Now, late in the game, if Ronnie Bell catches that pass, maybe we're having a different conversation. Because that was a key moment in that game that I didn't bring up when I talked about the game. But defense has got to play better. And they're missing guys, and they're dealing with injuries as well. Javon Hargrave is going to be out for at least the rest of the regular season. You're still waiting on Dre Greenlaw to come back. The secondary is really the problem. And that's been a problem for a while. It's just the 49ers are able to get pressure with Nick Bosa and those guys up front that, the secondary isn't as much of a concern as, it should be. But, you go up against some of these better teams with good quarterbacks, because they're going to be going up against Patrick Mahomes this year. They're going to be going up against Josh Allen. They're going to be going to Lambeau to take on Jordan Love. And we'll see what kind of season he has when he comes back from his injury. And it looks like, hopefully he plays on Sunday. So, yeah, you go up against some of these quarterbacks. Look at what happened when they played Joe Burrow last year. Joe Burrow played really well against that Niners defense. Mahomes took over the game in the fourth quarter. Let's not forget the Lions. The Lions, I think, when they play each other, that's a monster game. Lions are going to have to run the football against this defense. Because it worked really well in the playoffs last year. It's just for some reason they didn't do that. But I think the 49ers, they can survive without McCaffrey. However, you look at the NFC West, and you see that the Seahawks are 3-0. Now, they do match up with them, I think, in Week 5. That's a big game. That's a big game early on. And I don't think the standings are going to stay the same. I do think the Seahawks are going to, they're going to lose their fair share of games. But yeah, right now they're 3-0, everybody else is 1-2. I think that's when they play, right? Yeah, week 6. Week 6, my mistake, cuz they take on the Giants next week. That's right. Yeah, so the Seahawks have the Lions, a team that they don't lose against. But maybe this is different. Then they take on the Giants at home. Then they take on the Niners at home. And that's a Thursday night game. So that could be a big game. For the Niners, their next 2 games, they take on the Patriots and the Cardinals at home. So, and the Cardinals, that game's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. Divisional game, and I think Kyler Murray and that offense will play well enough to make this game competitive when we get to it. But the bigger problem is the defense. The offense, Brock Purdy played really well on Sunday. And that was without McCaffrey, without Debo, without Kittle. Brandon Ayuk hasn't really done much. It was the Brock Purdy, Juwan Jennings show. So, I think as long as you give Purdy protection, they'll be okay. But got to straighten out the defense. That's really what it comes down to. So, but yeah, it's just unfortunate that, McCaffrey might be out for longer than, we were hoping. We were hoping he'd be back sooner. But we'll just have to keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens. So, but the Niners, they got a game coming up against the Patriots, which I think they should win. I would pick them to win that game and cover because the Patriots' offense is not good. The defense is still a solid unit. But, we saw last week against the Jets. That Jets defense was able to put pressure on Jacoby Brissett. It was a long day for that offense. And the 49ers, they have the defensive line to do it with Nick Bosa. So, we'll see what happens. But and the other thing, too, is, like I said, Jordan Mason has done a nice job filling in for McCaffrey. Now, he's not Christian McCaffrey, but he's run the football effectively. He might not have a monster game. Like, I think he only had like 70 yards rushing in the game against the Rams. He's not going to go off every single week. But you know what? I think he could do good enough where you get your other guys back, their offense will be okay. The big concern is the defense going forward. That's my thoughts on it. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think, though, in the comments. Can the 49ers survive without Christian McCaffrey? I do think they can. I'm not going to hit the panic button because McCaffrey's going to be out. Because I think what's encouraging is Brock Purdy played well against the Rams with, down 3 of his best weapons. So if he could continue to play like that, they'll be okay. It's just the defense needs to figure it out. That's what I would be worried about. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. So, before we go to break, just want to remind you guys once again to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to hit the super chat button in the chat. This will create a super chat of any thought or comment you may have throughout the live broadcast. I will acknowledge it. And it just makes the show more lively, more entertaining between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. We appreciate your guys' viewership each and every day, so any contribution you can make to the show means the world to us as we put out content for you guys each and every day. And also, the other way to help out the show is by going to the link at the bottom of the show segment on the ticker, GSMCPodcast.net. That is GSMCPodcast.net. So, when we come back from our second break of the show, we will get into previewing the Ravens-Bills game. We'll talk about that when we come back from our second break of the show. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.